All right, welcome to the Girls Nextdoor podcast. Real talk, real local.
Not your average podcast.
I'm Christy Harlander.
I'm Kate Maxim.
We're here to bring you some fun. So a little bit about me, Christy Harlander. I lead the Beacon Real Estate team, which is part of Coldwell Banker Faith Properties. This team came together a few years ago. In its infancy, it was just my husband and I, and then along came my girl Kate, and we have exploded and grown immensely, and we now have a bunch of other agents, and it is a great team and a great dynamic, but essentially I love the vibe of the team, and that was the creation of the team and where that came from. As far as real estate goes, long and short, I got started in real estate for my own selfish reasons to just basically buy my own properties and hopefully get some investments rolling. But I actually found that doing real estate and selling it, and once I started seeing people close and helping people buy a house, it was like super fulfilling for me.
And addicting.
It's like
addicting.
Yeah, because it's a lot of like highs and lows, but those highs are super fun, and the lows you come back up from. But it hooked me. It hooked me hard, and I hit the ground running and haven't stopped since. And
we're not stopping.
No, absolutely not.
No way. So I joined Christy's team it was about a year after I got my license, and my start was slow. I was with a different company at first, and then decided that just wasn't going the direction I kind of had envisioned for myself. But all the same, I didn't really know where I wanted to start with real estate. And I think that is kind of a common theme I've heard over the last 4 years of being in the field is, I don't really know what I want to do with it, which I think is common. My husband and I started flipping houses, and we decided, I want to get ahead of the game as far as what's coming on the market. So let's kind of, let me get my real estate license and I can jump in ahead. And then I fell in love with it, and that was it. And I think that's kind of how it goes for a lot of people. You either really love it right up front, or you're kind of stuck. And I actually felt a little bit of both in the beginning. I kind of felt like, I think I love this. I think I can go further with this, but in what capacity? So I kind of learned in my first year, kind of some directions I thought I wanted to go with it weren't exactly where I wanted to go. And just kind of refocused, joined Christy's team, which was really the catalyst for my entire career in real estate. And here we are now. So why are we doing this? I don't know, but we're doing it.
We're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think, overall for me, my vision for this is to hopefully share some insight, give some value to people, give tips, give tricks. Also, let people get to know us a little bit better, and be able to provide options for local businesses, local people that we work with, give them a chance to talk a little bit about our area, talk with some lawyers, talk with some past clients, but also talk about life. We both lead a fun, very multifaceted life.
For sure.
And I think between giving you nuggets of knowledge and wisdom on real estate, talking a little reality, talking a little life, that hopefully hooks you in and you love it.
Absolutely.
As far as this goes for our listeners that are listening, we're fun people, but we get a little gritty and we swear sometimes. So if you don't like swearing, please don't be offended, or just don't give us a listen, because we do throw around a little swearing here and there.
Yeah.
Let's just want to be honest about that.
I think it's a good idea.
That's who I am.
If you have sensitive ears, this is the time to tune the fuck out.
Yeah. Put your earmuffs in.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's that.
Okay.
So
Good. Moving on.
As far as thinking about listing your house, mistakes that you can make, especially coming into the spring market, thinking about I'm a very visual person,
mm-hmm.
So getting your house fully ready, right? So how do you do that? What does that look like, right? There's outside, there's inside, there's cleanup, there's lots of things that kind of come together. So that is something that I always think is super important to be mindful of.
Absolutely.
But as far as don't make this mistake, what do you got?
I think the biggest thing in this particular market, as far as we're still in a seller's market. So this is great for people coming into the market right now, especially the spring boom. This is amazing. But really, truly, the first thing I think to not do is overprice your home.
Oh my God.
Which, you know, I think a lot of people going into it and knowing and hearing, okay, this is a seller's market, so that's beneficial to me. I'm gonna jack my house price up by how much? Too much.
Yeah.
And what's the downside of that? Is that if it's too much, your house gets stale. Also, we're in the spring market, which means everybody else is listing their house right now too.
Exactly.
So you want to make sure that you're sitting down with your agent. And truly, when I say this, listen to them.
Yeah, that's helpful. You hired them for a reason.
So helpful. We do really know the market. I've had listings where they wanted to go a little higher, and I think we all do, and it may be a little bit higher than what we're comfortable with, but overall, you're the boss.
Well,
so if you say we're listing it at that price, then we're going to do it. But really, we're going to have a good explanation as to why we're coming in at the price that we think you should be coming in at.
Exactly. It's just basically having the information present for them. So they want to list their house for XYZ dollars because they think that's what it's worth. They've got their whole life into it. They have their whole family memories. It's a seller's market. All the things that make it seem this much value for them.
Mm-hmm.
But in all reality, compared to other homes, all of that, all the numbers and the information doesn't align. So it's our job to tell them that.
Absolutely.
Whether they listen or not, we can tell them the benefits and the risks of not listening.
Right.
So it's
Absolutely.
just, I think pricing too high is definitely a tricky mistake that a lot of sellers get into.
Absolutely. And like I said, if you have a stale listing, starts putting that thought into buyers' minds, like what's wrong with this house. And a lot of the times you end up selling for less than what you would have at our suggested price.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to avoid. Trust me, we want you to get the most bang out of your buck and the most money that you can from your house.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't want you to fall into anything that's stale.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, for the most part, like you said, making sure that your house, little things around the front of your house, specifically, curb appeal in the spring market is huge. So I think that's a big one for kind of what we're jumping into here in the spring boom.
Yeah. Curb appeal and, picking the right person that you're going to work with. Just because we're doing this, we're sharing this information doesn't mean we're necessarily your people, but you've got to align with someone that's skilled, that is professional, that's going to represent you and your house in the best way possible. That's
Absolutely.
the thing. It's a whole package.
Yeah, for sure.
Shall I go off on my spiel of how there's 1,000,001 podcasts in real estate?
Yeah, you totally can.
I don't want to be like everybody else, so I'm hoping in my mind that we not only bring something different to the table, but again, just bring value and something good for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Something that pulls you in besides just yapping about real estate, which is so valuable and it's so fun and a lot of people are interested in it, but I just don't want to be like everybody else.
Yeah. Do you have a full spiel on that, or was that the spiel?
I don't know.
Okay.
Who wants to listen to me talk for 5 hours?
I don't know. I mean, we are doing that right now. I listen to you talk for 5 hours every day, and it seems to benefit in my life. So I think that's why we're doing this, is because we feel that maybe we have something to say.
We do. We got a lot to say.
Okay. Well, what's next? God, I feel like that's such a big thing too, is in this area, what's next? Really, what is next, I guess, I feel like, in this area as far as what's coming in this area? Mm-hmm. What is the draw to keeping people in our area and making it so they don't move out of our area? I think the Mohawk Valley is wonderful. Both of us were born and raised here for the most part. We both ventured out at certain points, many different directions. You lived in California for a while. I was in Albany, which isn't too much further, obviously, but we both came back here to the Mohawk Valley. So I think that is such a special thing. that this community is just such a great community to raise a family. And I think there's a lot of boom going on in this area too. That really is such a draw, that I hope that people are really seeing the value of staying in this area and the community and the things that we have to offer around here.
There's definitely a draw. I've seen such a growth though, because I've come back and forth a little bit, and I've stayed essentially right in the Mohawk Valley. I grew up in Utica. I lived out in Alien for a bit, moved back to Utica, but then I've kind of spread my wings a few times. But there's just it's a sense of home. Here is just it's a comfort. It's people when you walk into a coffee shop, you know who to call for if you have this need or that need or whatever. So there's that piece of it, but how do you draw more people in that don't necessarily know that?
Yeah,
I
think that's a bit of a challenge too, for sure. I don't know how we do it, but
and then there is a lot of great things in the area. We're smack dab in the middle of the state. You could basically get anywhere within an hour to 3 hours time, whether it's New York City, Niagara Falls, the Adirondack Mountains, down in the Finger Lakes. There's just so much all around us. So if this is like your central spot, this is home base, like you have access to just so many things in your area.
Yeah.
And essentially, our area does have a lower price point for real estate, which I feel is very inviting to those that aren't in our area.
Absolutely. I think that's a big draw. It's kind of funny, a lot of my client base, I work with a lot of younger people who are first-time homeowners and don't have too much of a comparison, which is understandable, of what the rest of the market and the rest of the country looks like, and how really statistically we have been at such a low price point, and now we're finally in this area coming up, which is good. This is a good thing. That means that things are improving in this area. That we're allowed to have these prices that are a little bit higher for our homes, all while still being incredibly affordable for first-time homeowners and really for anybody else. So I think that's a huge draw too. Is that the affordability in this area is just huge. Yeah, for sure.
All right, a little bit about me. So, real estate is not my only pride and joy. I do a lot of different things, as you know, but not everybody else knows this about me. So, first and foremost, I'm a mom of 2 really awesome kids, but they can be a pain right in my ass sometimes. So they're like my pride and joy, but also the stresses of my life. They are 15 and 18, and it's just, I'm in the prime of teenage years. So that's a little bit about me. Yeah. I am a workout junkie. I love to work out. It's not necessarily for physical reasons. However, those are the benefits that I reap from it. But I love working out because it helps my brain be clear and happy, and it puts me in a great mood. So I don't know anything
about that, but it sounds so good.
I'd love to hook you into that.
It sounds so good for you.
It's so many things. But I do. I love it. Whether I'm going for a walk, whether I'm doing my CrossFit style stuff. I used to be a CrossFit coach. I used to do nutrition coaching for people. So I don't know. I kind of wear a lot of hats in my life besides real estate. I love to travel. Love. That's my purpose for everything in life. I love planning my next trip. Where are we going? What are we doing? And, traveling for me rejuvenates me. It gives me purpose. That's why I do what I do and grind and work hard, because in the end, that's my little reward all the time. It's my little nugget of yay! Oh my gosh, I get 7 days of this, and then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna be refreshed and happy, and it gives me experience. I love food. Food's another big thing, which kind of goes hand in hand with my working out, Yes. I love really yummy food. So anytime I travel, I've always got to find the local spot, the local kind of food. So that's a big thing with my traveling.
What's your favorite place that you've ever been to?
The Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
I love it there. I really love it there.
You've got any plans for the future?
My dream actually is, this is like dreamland talking, but I mean, I've made a lot of dreams turn into reality, so that's a big thing.
Yeah.
My dream is to hopefully, not hopefully, it's all what you put out there. My dream and goal is to have a place in the Virgin Islands and be there half the year, and hopefully have a little business hustle going on over there, to be determined. But I kind of have an idea of what that's going to look like. But it's just kind of making people happy out in the islands. Pretty water, some good music, maybe a few drinks.
Sounds amazing.
So that's my goal someday. And you know what's funny? Why I love it there? Number one, I need sunshine in my life.
Yeah. That's the one. Okay, there's one drawback of where we live. I mean, let's keep it real. The lack of sunshine.
There is
We
a
just
little bit.
don't have that as much as we'd like to here, but
And when we get it, man, life is good.
yeah, life is so good. It's like we've been high in the sun. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, sunshine. And the warmth. I really love the warm temperatures. However, here in this area, I love the Adirondacks. I love going up to Old Forge and going on boats on the lakes and having those views of the mountains around me and just that like lake life. But there, it's like you're on a lake that looks like a swimming pool, and you're surrounded by all these green mountains, and it's just really, really beautiful. So that's one of my favorite places so far. But I have a lot of places that I want to go. So who knows? That could change.
Yeah, it's actually going to change.
Yes,
Christy and I actually are taking a little journey coming up here in July to Italy. So we'll keep you posted on that. We are so pumped to be doing that trip together.
Very excited.
And yeah, we're pretty stoked about this trip.
We'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we will have a lot to talk about. Absolutely. We are burning our husbands, but I think that overall, that's great.
Fantastic.
It's wonderful that we're bringing them along for the ride, for sure.
They're coming for the ride.
They're coming for the ride. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. What about me? Truly, this is gonna sound like so cliche in a way, but I got into real estate as a hobby. That was kind of what I was going for with real estate. I own multiple other businesses in the area. One we're actually sitting in right now, but I own a salon in Herkimer, I own a salon in Cooperstown, and I kind of have a lot of other hats I wear in this community, but really for the most part, I got into real estate as a hobby. That's kind of, what I wanted to do, something for me, something that was different, something that I always had interest in. So that it ended up being much more than a hobby, and I definitely consider myself a full-time dual career
$1,000,000%.
person. I definitely do real estate full-time. But yeah, that is truly, it's a joke amongst many friends, but work is my life and my hobby. But I just do love being kind of a constant busy human. It's the ADHD for sure that's fueling everything. Absolutely. But besides that, I have a very fulfilled life. I have 4 kids, all daughters, and they keep me very busy, especially my youngest. And outside of that, I'm here for the most part. I love traveling as well. Definitely something that I am trying to make more of a priority in my life. And not working so much as I have in the last 10 years. You gotta have time to enjoy what you've built. And so yeah, we're working on that. That's really about it. And then this. This.
Vision.
Yeah, we're doing this. I think it's this for me too. is going to eventually be a way, one of my biggest things for this year specifically when I saw 2025. Okay, what does 2025 look for me?
Right.
What does that look like as I'm turning 40? Kind of a big number to be jumping into, saying what is, kind of, what do I want to do for the next 10 years of my life? What do I want the next time to look like? And 2025 for me was really community based, something that I could kind of fall into that is going to bring the whole community in. And this is something I think could really catapult that. I really feel like I said, I primarily the valley here I grew up in Frankfurt, but I've owned a business here now in Herkimer for 10 years. So really this area to me is just so important. And I want to bring in and showcase a lot of this area a little bit more, and for how special this community really is. So for me, that's kind of my primary goal for 2025 is really community based. What can we do? What can we kind of do more of in this area to showcase it, to give back big time to an area that really for me has given so much to me over the last 10 years. What can we do to start returning the favor? Yeah. So this is a good start.
Yeah, I think so.
For sure. What type of bullshit can we talk about?
Bullshit.
I want bullshit.
Hold on. I got some crisis.
You got a crisis?
No, not really. It's just someone that needs an answer from me immediately. So
an immediate crisis answer. The reality is, absolutely. Yep. Real estate never sleeps, it never stops.
However, I do.
Christy is so good at boundaries. I'm going to tell you. That is one thing I've learned from Christy. She's so good at boundaries. I'm so bad at boundaries. If you want to, I shouldn't even say this.
No, don't say that.
I'm going to say it. If you want to text me at midnight, I'm going to get back to you at probably 12:15. I really, for the most part, she's so good. If you're gonna text her at 12:15, she's gonna be pissed. First of all, don't do it.
I might respond at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
there's a slight chance you may get that. There's no reason to text me at 12 o'clock.
Boundaries are so important. I don't know. I'm bad. I'm really, really poor at boundaries. I guess it's one of those things for me where I'm like, oh my gosh. If I don't answer, they're going somewhere else immediately. Whatever the situation is, they're finding somebody else to do the job, and I can't handle that thought in my head. I can't handle it.
And my rationale is if they don't respect that I have a life outside of what I do, they're not my people, and they probably shouldn't be working with me. And that's a life lesson.
Yeah.
Listen, I've got a few years on you, so she's just turning 40, but I'm well into that. But I don't know how old I am. That's another debatable question.
We don't know.
But she had a certain age, you kind of don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah, we had to go over it the other day.
Just a few times. But anyways, it's just like life. When life stings you enough times, you realize okay, so what can I do to change this? What can I do so that things like this don't sting me? For example, real estate related. It was my birthday and I was having my kids, because I am divorced. My kids were coming over to celebrate my birthday. This was a few years ago, and I had cake and dinner, and they weren't necessarily supposed to be with me, but made arrangements so they could be. And I had this buyer, and they had to do this home inspection on this day, at this time. It was the only day. It was just one of those kind of situations. So I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll do it. So I went to the home inspection, and then, got to my house a little later for my birthday celebration with my kids and my husband. And come to find out, this buyer was a lot bit of a scammer, and he really wasn't even in the right financial state to be able to be doing what he was doing. He screwed me over. And basically, what did that teach me? I was like, oh my God, I just missed out on time with my kids on my birthday. I love my birthday.
You love birthdays. You're great.
So I was really burned, and it bummed me out. And that was kind of a catalyst as far as work-wise.
Yeah.
For me to go, okay, what can I do different? Because that was not cool, and I don't ever want to do that again.
Yeah, that's so good.
But it's just
boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries are huge. And then, listen, I'm flexible too. I'm not like, however, if I'm sleeping, There's nothing we can do about that. Like if I'm awake and I have a boundary, and that's a little different. If it's an emergency, 4-line fire, things are happening, I can flex. But in all reality, I gotta set those hard lines. It's just so good to me. Otherwise, I won't do this anymore, and I'll hate what I do. Everyone.
It's so smart.
People.
It's so smart. I don't know what that feels like, but I want to someday, and maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. I think it's just. I've thought about it. What would that mean if I were to set some boundaries, really solid boundaries for myself? I don't know, it feels difficult. I think we just, even as women specifically, have such a hard time with boundaries and letting people push us around a little bit sometimes. So, I've definitely gotten better at that in my life. You can't push me around. However, as far as when it comes to kind of work-related, client-based things, I'm at your mercy.
And that's the thing. There's no right or wrong way. It's how you operate.
Absolutely.
There's people that truly operate that way, and that's fine.
Yeah.
If it's not causing you discomfort, and you're not pissed off and angry and resentful, who cares?
Yeah.
But for me, I know it's a hard set line for me, and now because of it, I kind of have this is my elevator pitch. When any new client I'm with, I'm like, all right, so here's the deal. If you want to work with me, basically I'm available between this hour and this hour, which is basically 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. I feel like that's a pretty long window of it. And if you try to reach me and I'm not available beyond those hours, I'll always get back to you the next day. And that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
I have a life. I have kids that play sports. I have so much going on in my life. So I hope you can understand that there is a small period of time that I'm just not.
Remember when you told me that first when I first started working with you, and you're like, listen, 7 or 8 o'clock, and I was like, ooh, gotta tell you something.
That's when Kate starts working.
I started working my second shift at 7 and 8 o'clock at night. So if I need you, it's gonna be between 7 and 8 o'clock at night. I am a lot of the times in the salon during the daytime hours, and even though over the years I'm less behind the chair, my salon businesses have become quite large of an entity that I really need to be focused on running the business versus being behind the chair. However, I still am. But it requires me to be present in them during the daytime hours. So I get things done real estate wise during the day, but especially in the beginning when I really needed to lean on Christy more in my first year or so, and I was like, oh shit, I don't know if this is gonna work for you then, because I'm gonna be texting you at 8 o'clock at night.
And was I flexible?
You were so flexible. You really were. You really totally were flexible.
I knew I had to kind of bend that a little bit because I had to. Otherwise it wasn't gonna work.
Right, absolutely.
So obviously, we understand. Of course, correct.
We got through it. It's all good.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would be so sad if we did not.
Be so sad. Be the saddest ever. Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Great.
Good shit.
We do it.
All right. So you were just handling a little fire, right?
We got
So
toasty.
real estate is fun and happy and joyous, but there's a lot of fires that get put out.
So bad.
Right? Yeah. So constantly problem solving all day long. All day long it's constant problem solving and choices and helping and guiding, right? So we're working with sellers or buyers, whatever. That's kind of our role is constantly doing that. It can really jack up your mindset if you don't have a positive growth outlook on things. So you can go into a problem this is done, it's or you could be everything can be figured out.
Everything can be figured out.
Everything.
And
it's about having a mindset, right? So this career can chew you up, eat you up, spit you out, stomp on you, and mush you all around.
And it's going to.
It will. It definitely will. However, how do we deal with that? Do we sit and pout about it and go, oh, this person didn't want to work with me, or oh, this deal fell through, and blah, blah, blah. How do we handle this, right? And it's all between our ears and how we think and look and our outlook, right? So I think for me, it's really huge to constantly be mindful of that. And that's how I can stay calm, you know, even if in the inside I'm at the dying inside, I kind of like, oh, what's happening? And my voice is calm because I make sure before I even make a phone call, get your head in the right space, calm yourself down, because otherwise if they hear that, they vibe off of that and they get nervous. So it's constant diligence on keeping your head in the right spot to just be supportive, be helpful, and also keep your own head right so you don't pout every day about work.
For sure. I mean, I think if anybody who's wanting or thinking about getting into real estate, I would say at least one person every other week that reaches out to me that says, hey, I'm thinking about getting into real estate. What can I do? How can I do it? Where do I start? And I can give you all of those basic tools on this is where you start. This is the course to take. And this is, kind of how you get all your ducks in a row to get it figured out. But really, once you're in it, is a totally different thing. And I mean, I think that's how it is with any career, but this one specifically, I don't care how long you're in it, you're learning something every single day on how to manage and how to control. And it really, this is a roller coaster. We say it all the time. It is a roller coaster. You're going to have super high highs and really low lows. I just had a deal fall through this morning. It's gonna happen, but then you say, okay, what do we do now? How do we, where do we go from here? Versus it's salvageable. Second, if it's not, okay, it's not. Some of them just aren't. Right. So where do you go from there? You pick them a lot of the times back up and you restart. And that's it. You restart and you make it, you salvage it in one way or the other. Like not that specific deal, but it's going to be something else. And if it's a deal or not, there's just so many different things that I think people don't know that we deal with in our job too. That they have no idea that what's going on behind the scenes. Which, I think a big thing that a lot of clients don't know is how much of the negotiating that we are actually doing behind the scenes, and how much of the contract work we do behind the scenes. And that and the lawyers we work with are truly amazing. I mean, we love them and we'll have them here. But they, and a lot of those deals we do, lean on them for some of the harder deals. But I think they think a lot of that, which they review, but they think a lot of that is what they're doing.
Right.
But it's actually what we're doing. We're the ones doing, the brunt of that contract work and the brunt of the negotiations up front. I think that's one that I think that people don't realize how much we're doing behind the scenes. Because they can't see it. They don't know what we're doing.
It's like, it's not necessarily just on that front end purchase portion of it. It's kind of all throughout from start to finish.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And it's a big part of that is on us. Most of it is on us. Yeah.
But again, keeping your head in a good space, staying positive, and just always knowing everything can be figured out.
Absolutely. Everything. For sure. Can be and will be. And to really lean on us, and especially with clients, when something, I had something else, another fire I was just putting out, something has kind of gone a little awry in a deal, right, in a transaction right now. And it feels really urgent to clients, I think, and it is, and I'm not saying it's not urgent. However, there are things that sometimes give us a little bit of it. I know it feels and seems urgent, and it is to them. But this is something that we have dealt with before. We know how to navigate. So just kind of give us a little bit, usually a day or so, to really sort and talk to the people we need to talk to sort it out and figure it out. And we do. I always do.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap up.
Wrap up.
We're wrapping this up.
Wrap up, baby.
How can everyone find us, Kate? Where do they go to find us and follow us? And
That's such a great question. Please follow us on Instagram. We are on right now the Girls Nextdoor.
Girls Nextdoor.
And we will also be on YouTube, hopefully TikTok. We're just starting Facebook.
Yep.
We each have our own individual pages, but we will be starting another one.
Yes. For this
specifically.
and all of you.
So please follow us there. Also, mainly we are doing this for all of you, for all of our viewers, our fans, our clients, our friends. So please let us know what you want to hear from us. Who you want to see in our local community, and who you want us to talk to.
Yeah, let us know. Leave comments on our social media. Let us know businesses. Let us know questions, things that we can answer for you. Problems you need solved. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
we'll have an answer of some sort.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, let us know how we can make this helpful for you, and then also how we can bring some more businesses and highlight them and help you learn more about our community.
Absolutely. I love that. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
I'm Kate.
I'm Christy,
and we're the Girls Next Door.